am I the asshole for ordering pizza at my friend's wedding because there was no more food?
Pizza again.
Me and my wife were invited to my friend's wedding. The wedding was going to have about 70 people, with mostly family. When we got there, we were seated at a table with some other people. Nice people, and we mingled well and had a good time chatting. The wedding was also quite nice. Both my friend and his new wife were very happy. After the ceremony, every table got 2 bottles of wine, bread and butter, and there was also an open bar, so we started to have a few drinks. Then the food came out. It looked really good. The food was set up for a buffet. I was half buzzed and looking forward to getting some food in my belly. When it was time to eat, every few tables at a time were going to get called, which is fine. The first few tables that were called were understandably the family of both sides. Then the rest were. The problem was that the family members, his in-laws, are larger people. Now, I don't shame people for how much they eat, but I noticed the helpings of food they had while I was patiently waiting for us to be called. I also noticed that they went for seconds before all the tables were called, and no one stopped them. I didn't say anything, though I thought that was rude. I just assumed that there was a lot of food. To my surprise, by the time we were called there was nothing left. I asked if there was more coming out, and apparently that had already occurred. So we grabbed the little we could and went back to sit down and ate the scraps. We were all still pretty hungry and a bit pissed off, so we kind of bash-talked that the first few tables ate all the food. Someone mentioned that they could go for some pizza, and then I had a drunken idea of ordering some, LOL. So that is what we did. We all pitched in and ordered 4 large pizzas and some chicken wings from the local pizza joint close to the venue, so it didn't take long to be delivered. I met the guy outside and brought the food to our table, and we started to eat. Some of the other tables noticed and asked where the pizza came from. Apparently, some of the other tables close to ours didn't get any food either, so we shared with them. This caused some commotion because other people were looking for and asking the wedding party if there was a pizza available. I guess there were others that didn't get to eat either. We did share with anyone who asked. My friend came to talk to me about why I ordered the pizza. His bride was not happy about it. It ruined the aesthetic. So I told him that we didn't get to eat and that the food ran out long before our table was called and we were all really hungry. He then asked why we didn't just step out and eat and then come back. Though annoyed about that, I respectfully explained to him that we were all drinking on an empty stomach and that it probably wasn't the best idea to have drunk people walking around looking for food. I don't think he liked that, but he went back to his bride who was glaring at us. Like, what were we supposed to do? Starve? This wasn't the end, though. As we were finishing eating, one of the in-laws came to our table and he asked where the pizza came from. This is where I may be the asshole. There were 2 slices left. I knew he was eyeing them. I asked the other people at my table if they wanted one. Everyone declined. This guy then said he'd have one. I then took the 2 slices, I put them on my plate and started to eat them, then looked at him and said something like, "No, you and everyone at your tables had way more than your fair share at the buffet and ate all of it. This is the reason we ordered food in the first place. And now you have the nerve to ask us to share?" His face went red, and he returned to his table. There was a lot of discussion going on there. They were all looking back at us with daggers. The bride looked even more ticked off at us. She had a bit of an argument with my friend. He eventually came back to tell us that we had to leave. I didn't mean to start any problems, so me and my wife called a cab and left. He called me a few days later, and we had a long talk. I explained my perspective, and he agreed that his in-laws were really rude for eating the food and leaving most of the other guests with very little. A lot of people actually complained to him about it. Everyone was drinking, thinking that there would be food, and they were all disappointed. He was upset by his in-laws because he told them how many guests there would be and to order food for that many people. He also saw how much they were taking, but assumed they ordered enough. He was wrong. He brought this up with his wife, and she said that apparently because the in-laws paid for all the alcohol and the food, they felt entitled to eat what they wanted. She was really mad at them and reamed them out for tainting her special day. He also said a lot of the other non-family guests started to leave soon after we left because they were too hungry. They still had fun celebrating, but it kind of put a downer on their special day. Out of 70 people, about 30 left. I also found out that the guy that came to our table was his father-in-law. Father-in-law was really embarrassed by what I said to him. He felt pretty bad when he found out close to half the guests didn't get to eat anything and left early. So, am I the asshole?
Whew. God, I want my pillow. Kind of. Yeah.
Am I wrong for kicking out my girlfriend and her son after she invited her ex into our home? I, 35 male, and my girlfriend Sarah, 35 female, have been together for 4 years. She has a son, Nathan, 9 male, with her ex, Mark, 36 male. Sarah has full custody of Nathan, with her ex having scheduled visitations 1 weekend of every month. Sarah and Nathan moved in with me a little over a year and a half ago, and in my perspective, it was a little rocky at first. I've always been pretty protective of my space, so making room for 2 people have been difficult for me. When Sarah moved in with me, we agreed that the visitations from Mark would be held in our apartment as long as I'm home. The main reason I wanted this is because I don't know Mark that well, and I don't want him wandering around our apartment without me there. When we proposed this idea to Mark, he was fine with it. Now, moving on to the real issue. 3 weeks ago marked 4 months since Mark's last visit, so I had asked Sarah when he was planning on visiting Nathan. My girlfriend replied by shrugging her shoulders and telling me that she'd ask. She never followed up with it. So a few days ago, I asked when Mark's next visit was, and Sarah said she'd tell me when she knew. Nathan was in the living room, but had apparently overheard us and shouted something along the lines of, "Dad was here last weekend, remember?" Sarah's face immediately dropped, and when I asked what Nathan meant, she wouldn't give me a direct answer. Eventually, she ended up telling me that for the past 2 visits, Mark had been to our apartment when I was working. When I accused her of going back on our agreement, she kept telling me that this was her home too and she could invite whoever she wanted, and that it was fine because she was there and watching. Even if it's your home too, doesn't matter. You always check in with your partner before you invite someone over. It's like common courtesy. It's called respect. It's called a relationship. I told her that was besides the point and she violated my trust. It blew up into a huge argument, which ended in me telling her to get out of my apartment. She packed up and left with Nathan. Last I heard, she was staying with her parents. I've gotten several messages from both Sarah and her parents calling me an asshole for kicking Sarah and Nathan out of their home for something so small. She's even been blasting me on Instagram and Facebook about how horrible I am to do this to her. It's got me thinking I might be the asshole, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So, am I the asshole? She lied to your face! If she felt like she had done nothing wrong, she would have told you. Definitely some sussy stuff happened those 2 times he was here.
Am I the asshole asking my daughter to pay me for cooking for her wedding? I, a 46 female, greatly enjoy cooking and baking. I've always told my kids if they had a small wedding, I would be happy to provide the food as a wedding gift. My daughter Leslie is getting married soon. They're having 47 guests total, so I offered to cook per my long-standing offer and said I could do something like my peppered beef or jambalaya with some jalapeno cheesy biscuits. Leslie and her fiance, Will, took me up on it and said they would help buy ingredients. Leslie sent me some recipes a few days ago, and when I asked what they were for, she said they wanted to add 1 or 2 big pot dishes that weren't spicy, so Will's family could have something to eat. I know that boy can't eat a popper or most of my meals without getting red in the face, but I didn't think his whole family was like that. Leslie said it's because his father has ulcers and stomach problems, so Will's family was careful how they ate while Will was growing up. I told Leslie I already told her what I was cooking for her wedding, and she argued that I'm making it about me instead of listening to what the bride and groom want. I finally told her I'd cook the extra dishes, but if she's going to treat me like I'm a caterer, then I'll need her to pay me for all of the extra prep and work. Leslie said gifts are supposed to be what the person receiving them wants, and that she might as well hire a caterer if she's going to pay, and then she hung up. I thought Leslie would cool down and come talk to me about how we would handle this and reasonable payment for taking on extra cooking, but my youngest told me when he went to visit Leslie, she and Will were talking with a catering company. Was I wrong to ask her to pay me for cooking? I don't know why OP took that as the hill to die on, especially because it is the daughter's wedding. Like, it is about them.
Right.
And this was supposed to be a gift.
Right. It just sounds petty for no reason. It didn't feel like it needed to be like that.
My 25 male fiance, 24 females, best friend sent me proof of her cheating at her bachelorette party. You know it's bad when the bride's best friend is exposing her. First of all, sorry for a mistake. I'm writing in a state between exhaustion and being completely drunk. As you should. As you should, bestie. So yeah, pretty common story. Met her 5 years ago at uni, fell deeply in love, and thought she was the love of my life.
Story of my life.
5 years of relationship, she decided to crush. I want to break my skull right now. Decided to crush. my God. Okay. We were not a perfect couple, but damn, we were close. Her family liked me, and while I don't really have one, I felt so welcomed in theirs. We had projects. The first one was me buying this big, now garbage of a house near the sea, building a family on our own, on my own. I proposed to her earlier this year, and I couldn't think of a better night than this one. Why the frick she had to throw everything away like that? Yesterday morning, I woke up with a big headache from my little party with the boys, and what a surprise when I saw that my fiance's best friend sent me not one, but 5 videos. How did she not know that there were 5 videos being taken of her while she was cheating, you know? I'm just gonna keep it for myself.
Make it a happy memory.
How naive I was thinking. Oh, cool, they had fun. Must be some fun or embarrassing moments, lol. To summarize the 5 videos, her kissing at least 3 other guys. Oh, 3, at least 3. Oh God, it just gets worse by the second.
I mean, I have a reputation to uphold.
Making out really passionately with one, I mean really passionately. Licking champagne on his body, and finally her being lifted up into a room and a lot of noises from behind the door. Okay, that's how you get a video of her without her knowing. She was probably so into it, she didn't even realize there were videos being taken. I just would like to say that we don't claim her. Like, you say that this is like a common story. Maybe you just meant the uni part. This is not common.
Right, a nickel.
My friends are still with me, as dumbfounded as I am. I guess she slept most of yesterday because I had the first text last night and a crap ton of them, plus calls this morning. I only asked her yesterday to tell me the truth, and she played like nothing happened. Oh yeah. Doesn't look good for you, buddy. Doesn't look good. I mean, depends on how you look at it though, because would you really want to be in a relationship who would do this and lie about it? Do this from like at all, but then lie about it. I have a theory where people that like openly cheat like this, especially to this degree, just don't want to be in a relationship with that person or at all. And they're looking for a way to like sabotage it. I can't, I swear to God, it's crushing my mind.
You could do so, you
She's just begging on text for me to pick up, saying it's not what I think. How cliche, right? Even her best friend is trying and told me we need to talk. You gotta talk to that best friend.
Wrong number.
I'm glad that she's not sticking with the girl code. That's not even girl code though. Like, that's when I'm referring to girl code, I think of like bro code, you know, like it's like they're all in on it and they'll let each other cheat and they won't ever tell the girlfriends, etc. I don't think girl code is the same thing as bro code, but even the best friend is like, dude, you gotta get out. I picked up just once. I told her I know about the guy, and bam, blank silence. Then sobbing and crying, telling me to meet to talk and explain because it's not what it looks like. Before I hung up and turned off my phone, I'm sorry, what does it look like then? Because there are videos that definitely look like it.
I was practicing.
There's video evidence. It's not what it looks like. It kind of is. TBH. What were you doing in that room with all those noises going on?
Jumping up and down on the bed.
Even asking me who was the B word that sent me the vids. I love it when they're more angry about being found out. Who said that? Who told you that? Who didn't keep my secret? That's how you know you caught a cheater, because if they're more upset about who told you the truth, tells you something. Guys, I really thought I could have my own family. Oh, you can, babe. You can, just not with that one. It was hard growing in foster. I guess I only have my bros and my job left. Listen, I know it's gonna be hard to think of women in a favorable light, but not all of us are like this, okay? Look at the best friend. The fact that her best friend wanted to tell you what was going on, like she put her friendship on the line to tell you the truth about what was happening. And not only that, give you proof of what was happening. That is a testament to the fact that not all women are like your fiance here. Some of us have morals, okay? I guess I need some outside advice. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like, but hard to believe that BS. I mean, you could hear her out, but the fact that she like lied to begin with is not a good sign. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't marry this person. Like, you just can't. You can still have the family. You can still have your dream life, just not with her. Edit. Also, for all the people telling me to get with her best friend, it's it's not my priority right now. Fiance contacted me again and offered me to monitor all her accounts, not drinking or going out without me, etc. I mean, it's a little late for that. That's an odd solution. I just feel like maybe this isn't the first time, you know? I really feel like this was the first time that maybe the best friend had proof, but maybe it wasn't the first time because it's like, oh, this happens when I'm drunk. Oh, it happens when I go out without you. Why is that a solution? OP says, I'm not a freaking jail guard. It will be my last update on this. I won't post anymore and mostly will delete the account later. It's so bizarre when cheaters do this. I fricked someone else. Now to keep the life I want, you have to do more work keeping an eye on me. It's kind of like people that f up and they're like, let's go to therapy. Come to therapy with me. No, I will not go to therapy with you. Why do I have to dedicate time to you? Because you f***ed up. If anything, you go to therapy and you work on your I'm just fine. In fact, it's the therapy that makes me feel like I don't need therapy. I'm healed, baby girl. I am a whole person. Okay, we have an update.